Hello Home Slices, it's Kairo with Home Slice Adulting, and I'm coming to you today with my review for Season 9, Episode 5 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get started. Now first we start off with Phaedra and Porsha, and we see Phaedra on the phone trying to organize with the extravagant congresswoman with the, cowboy hats that we saw on last season. She just seems very extravagant and over the top for me, but whatever, she's Phaedra's mentor, so you don't really expect anything less. Phaedra plans on going to Philadelphia for the Democratic National Convention, and hearing all of the election talk and everything is just a little sad to me, but whatever. Phaedra invites Porsha to the DNC, and Phaedra felt like she needed to make sure that Porsha knew what DNC stood for, the Democratic National Convention, and she invites her and they say yes. She says that while she is in Philadelphia, she wants to get some closure with Apollo as far as their divorce goes. And Porsha is saying that Apollo is fighting the divorce, and Phaedra says that Apollo isn't cooperating. But let's be honest, it took Phaedra a good year to year and a half to even really go through with the divorce. She was taking her precious time for whatever reason, so we can't blame it 100% on Apollo. But anyways, they talk about getting in the dating game and body massages and whatever. Not interested. Moving on, we see Kenya, and she is with Cynthia at this cake decorating class. She's trying to decorate a cake for Matt, a Gucci cake, because apparently he lost a Gucci belt. And I'm like, did he lose a Gucci belt in Mexico when he kicked the door in? I don't know why that rang a bell for me. But she says she's planning an ATV thing for Matt's birthday for couples, and Cynthia's like, I guess I can't come. And Kenya's like, well, you can come, but that would be weird. And Cynthia just feels left out because she's no longer a part of a couple anymore. So she gets on the phone, she invites Kandi, Todd, Lena, and RL, and she says that Sheree and Bob can't fit in an ATV, so they can't come. But shade. Anyways, she talks about what happens at the laser tag fiasco when she and Sheree get into that argument, and I didn't notice how much Sheree was stuttering, but she was stuttering over her words, and they were telling penis jokes or whatever. Moving on. Next we see Cynthia. She is with Noelle, and they are house hunting, and she says that apparently Peter does not want any proceeds from the sale of the house. It's just that Peter doesn't want Cynthia living in the house with anybody else, and it's like, Cynthia said that house was in her name, she should be able to keep it, but I think part of Cynthia wants to let go of that house to let go of some of the memories from their marriage as well. So I kind of don't blame her. But they meet a realtor at a house. It's very nice. It's almost $1 million home that the price decreased about $50,000 on. The square footage sounded right, like 4,000 square feet, and it's only her and Noelle. But when she said 6 bedrooms, I was like, who needs 6 bedrooms? The house was very nice, I will give them that, and it was on a lake, and it had all of these nice amenities. It was great. But later on, Kenya is talking on the phone with Cynthia in the car, and Cynthia says that she made an offer on the house and she really liked it. And Kenya tells Cynthia that her love life with Matt is on the rocks because Matt threw a little insecure boy tantrum about a Throwback Thursday photo that Kenya posted on Instagram, I think it was, and it was a picture of her and Jay-Z in a car. Now when Kenya said that she was the lead actress, I mean, if you are the lead video hoe, I wouldn't consider that to be an actress. If you're the main woman in a video, I don't know if you could consider yourself to be the lead actress. We all know Kenya is not the lead actress type, so whatever. Anyway, it made Matt insecure. He made a big deal about it, and he was throwing a tantrum and throwing things, and Kenya was saying that she wants a man, but I mean, when you date somebody who is, what are they, like 13 years apart, He's already kicked the door in, already shown that he's not mature enough to deal with you texting somebody else or posting a photo of something that happened when he was probably in middle school. Like, you know, what do you expect when you date somebody who has shown that they are not mature? But whatever. She says she hopes he gets it out of his system before they try to celebrate his birthday party, but you know, fat chance. Anyways, next we see Sheree. And Sheree, this is like one of the first times that we see Sheree in parenting mode, I guess you can say, because she's talking to her son Kairo about a DUI he got himself involved in the previous day. Apparently he called her from the jailhouse and they said that he was under the influence of weed while he was driving. But Sheree was like really calm about it. My mom would have hemmed me up and been all pissed off and mad. I personally think Sheree should have went harder on Kairo, but you know, everybody has a different parenting styles. And so she was saying that because Kairo is like a kid, he doesn't understand the gravity of the situation. How, you know, she brought up how they went to the Million Man March and listened to women talk about how their sons had passed away. And you know, Sheree doesn't want that to happen to her. She wants Kairo to understand that that's a real possibility, especially for him as a black man. But she did say that Bob needs to get more involved in that situation and really tell Kairo, you know, what the deal is. And so she takes Kairo to talk to Bob. And I personally was not expecting much from Bob, especially when he started off the conversation like, you know, when I got out of the NFL, I got my, you know, medicinal marijuana card. And Sheree was looking like, I didn't bring him here for you to tell him that. But Bob evolved the conversation to let him know that, you know, smoking weed with the friends, you know, for a therapeutic effect is not what I condone. Whenever something comes to you, some lean, some weed, some whatever else comes to you, you need to pass it around. And he was like, ain't nobody gonna be mad at you for not partaking. And he was like, you know, not only do you not want to get yourself into trouble, you don't want anybody else to get you into trouble. And so I thought it was nice to see that Bob took on that dad role, and for the first time I took him seriously and it wasn't all joking. And Sheree asked him, you know, what do you plan on doing to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again? And he was saying just making better decisions. And Bob was like, you know, look at your mother in the eye, look at us in the eye and tell us what you were going to do to make sure this doesn't happen again. And I like that because I really don't like that people don't make eye contact these days. It's like, don't look at your shoes or at my shoes, look at me and connect with me and tell me what's going on. But whatever, I thought that was a good thing for us to see Bob really taking on that father role, especially after all the BS that went on between them during their divorce. So next we see Kandi, and Kandi is with Todd at the OLG restaurant. Again, I hate the name of that restaurant. Yuck. Apparently they are 3 months behind, but Todd is like, no, we're not 3 months behind. Todd is being like super cavalier about the restaurant not being done on time, and I hate that. Peter, the restaurant expert, shows up, and I'm like, how many restaurants has he had fail or go out of business? Like, how many, what is the ratio of failed restaurants to non-failed restaurants that makes you an expert versus a dude that's just trying stuff out? I don't know. I thought they were being generous with that restaurant expert title. But whatever. Kandi gets up to leave. She gave Todd this like church hug. I was like, why is she giving Todd, her husband, a church hug? Like the same church hug that she gave Peter when she left. But whatever. Todd and Peter are alone talking about the restaurant. They go out to the patio that still needs to be done. Like, ain't nothing done in the old lady gang restaurant. But that patio reminded me of the venue that Kandi and Todd got married at. But whatever. Peter is opening business after business. He says he has something called Club One coming up in Charlotte. Apparently he reopened Bar One in Atlanta, so he comes to Atlanta to check on that business as well. Peter claims that, you know, one of the reasons, or the biggest reason, that Cynthia and he are getting a divorce is because the workload was too much for Cynthia and that she isn't built like him. Now, here's the deal with that. I feel like Peter is throwing the responsibility of the divorce onto Cynthia. But the problem is Cynthia is asking for the divorce, but Peter is the reason for the divorce. When you have a marriage that you want to work out, you don't open a business a few states away, especially when your marriage is not in a good place. I think that Peter did not prioritize their marriage, and Cynthia just got over it and wants a divorce. He was not doing what he was supposed to do as a husband, and we all know that. So I don't like the way that he tried to push the responsibility of their marriage not working onto Cynthia. But he was right about them not thinking alike and not being on the same page. And men and women often don't think alike and are often not on the same page. So it is what it is. I don't think Peter was equipped to deal with being the type of husband that Cynthia needed and being a provider. And now that he's in this different spot and different position, he has these businesses coming up. And while I don't wish any failure on him, I hope that, you know, he is successful. I hope that he just doesn't do things the same way that he did with Cynthia. Todd says that he is worried that Kandi and him will have the same fate as Peter and Cynthia. He says that they're working on so many projects together. They're spending so much time together. They have, you know, business stress. They have a new baby. And he's like, you know, he doesn't want to end up like Cynthia and Peter. And Peter says that the wife is supposed to support the husband 1000%. And he knows that Cynthia was not there for him and didn't believe in him in that way. And if you had a husband like Peter who did things like buying cars and buying properties behind your back and not telling you that those properties were about to go into foreclosure, and if you had a husband that was embarrassing you on social media and hugging up on and grazing the breast of somebody that you don't know, somebody that he's not supposed to be that close upon, a guy who has had multiple business ventures fail and who has had to rely on the money of his wife to make sure he had his next business venture. When you have a husband like that does all that stuff, you might not support them 100%. You don't just support somebody just under the idea that, oh, I'm just supposed to support this person because they're my husband. When you have somebody that's a real friend or somebody that's a real spouse, they're going to hold you accountable. And because Cynthia knows about all of those failures and all of that BS that took place in their marriage, she doesn't want to support him 1000%, and he is not worthy of 1000% of Cynthia's support. So whatever, Peter. Next, we see Kandi and Todd at the house, and apparently Todd has not been bathing himself or washing his balls because he is so focused on the construction. And it's like, what is Todd doing at the old lady gang place? I mean, it didn't look like Todd picked up a hammer and nails. It's like, what is the point of Todd being at OLG if he's not going to actually physically do any work? Is he overseeing stuff? I don't know. Just go do something else while you have your construction manager or whoever, somebody who knows what they're doing, overseeing OLG. Mama Joyce comes in and she takes, you know, the baby, and they're like, oh, you're babysitting. She was like, I'll do you one even better. And she sets them up a little romantic thing with like a massage table in the second house. And I think that the gesture was like pathetic and sweet at the same time. And I mean, Mama Joyce, after season 6, when she acted a fool about Kandi and Todd about to get married, I really wasn't here for Mama Joyce, and I still am kind of not, but this gesture was like a move in the right direction up until the point in the confessional where she says, you know, they work hard. I mean, well, at least Kandi does. I mean, throwing digs and shade or whatever. And I'm like, come on, Mama Joyce, you got to get past something at some point. But anyways, I thought that the gesture was a little awkward, and there was bedroom Kandi in there, and Kandi was like, you know, it is awkward when she lays out your own, you know, sex products for you and your husband, but whatever. They took advantage of it. Kandi gets into something sexier, and I found it odd that during their sexy time that they talked about divorce. I feel like if you talk about divorce and breaking up during your sexy time, yeah, that's weird. We see Phaedra and Porsha at the Democratic National Convention. They have some type of forum or conversation about the police and the black, community. Porsha has to leave before Phaedra talks to Apollo, and yeah, that's how that goes. We'll get back to that in just a little bit. And so next we see the couples at the ATV event, and Kenya isn't even in a couple. She claims that the ATV thing was supposed to be a surprise, and that Matt went to California to visit his sister but just didn't come back in time to do the celebration that Kenya wanted to do. I don't know, something about that was just really weird. I mean, she's holding a couple event, and Kandi and Todd, RL and Lena show up, and she said she thought it would be worse to cancel the event. She should have canceled their housewarming too. I mean, she's about appearances, and I think that's how she's like Phaedra, is that they care more about the way things look as opposed to being real about the way things are. But anyways, RL and Kenya ride together because Lena isn't feeling well and Kenya's cousin wasn't feeling it. So anyways, I have determined that RL is very lame to me. I haven't heard him talk really at all this season, but this time around when he said that Matt and Kenya may be on the rocks because Matt does not want to sign up to be Stedman, because most men don't want to sign up to be Stedman because Kenya is, famous or whatever. And I was like, Now, just because your little manly ego may be hurt by dating a woman who has some notoriety about her does not mean that every man does not know how to let their woman shine and be the celebrity in the relationship, just the way that, Todd said. And I was like, RL is lame for that. That was very lame to me. I did not like that. I thought it was misogynistic. I thought it was some BS. Todd was a little shady about calling Matt to say happy birthday. To say happy birthday to Matt, but I thought that was a little funny, but whatever. So next we see Phaedra gets a phone call and she asks the driver to pull over. I don't know why she asked him to pull over, but whatever. Apparently there's a bomb threat at her, law practice. Phaedra gets emotional. She gets a little panicky. She tries to make sure her kids are okay, and the kids are with her mother, and her mother tries to reassure her and calm her down, and she says a little prayer with her. And next thing we know, Messy Carmen is calling Kandi, telling her all about everything that's going on. Apparently it was in the news, and some guy who I'm assuming is one of Phaedra's clients said that he was going to blow up the place. And Kenya, and this is a little surprising to me, Kenya seemed genuinely worried about this bomb threat in Phaedra, and she was like, Phaedra has those two boys. I couldn't imagine what would happen if something happened to Phaedra. And I was like, she genuinely seemed concerned. For someone who threatened to kick out Phaedra's teeth while she was pregnant with her second son, she actually made a little turnaround. But anyways, Apollo calls her. They talk about the bomb threat. Apollo is worried that the person who did the bomb threat knows where the house is, and Phaedra just doesn't know. So that's it for this time. Next time, Porsha says that she is looking for a bigger house. Now, if I remember correctly, the house that she is in is 8,000 square feet. 7 bedrooms, I think it was. Why does she need a bigger house? She needs to either stay where she is, or she could stand to downsize and get something the same size that Cynthia was looking at this time around. These women are just extravagant for no reason. Apparently there's some liquor license issue at the old lady gang. Mama Joyce is talking in mixed company in front of everybody about the bomb threat, and it's inappropriate. And Matt and Kenya have some type of argument, and Kenya says she can bury Matt if she wants to. We'll see how that goes. Thanks you guys for watching. Peace out. Be sure to check out some of my other videos. I have some beauty and health videos that are going to be coming out soon. So thanks you guys for watching. Peace out, home slices.